Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're looking for some common sense ways that you can evaluate and then purchase, because we all want you to become real estate investors, rental properties in 2023, we have an exciting video for you. And at the end of this one, watch to the end, I'm gonna give you 3 places that you can go to find some can't miss deals that don't cost you anything in advertising. They're only going to cost you your time, efforts, and your planning to go get this job done. So, give us a like on the way in. Be sure to comment throughout. Tell me what you think of this stuff. I'm a simple guy. I'm going to give you a few reasons or a few ways that I look at evaluating rental properties. I just want to have the simple math, the simple way, and what I'm trying to do, because I look at, and I'm going to encourage you to look at, lots and lots and lots of real estate. And so if you use these things to evaluate, you can evaluate things quickly and throw away the trash. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't make sense. I would encourage you guys to never try to force something to become a deal. If you have to fight with it to become a deal, it's not a deal. Don't do it. The first thing that I look at when I'm trying to buy a rental property, if I invest my money in that property with the current cash flow that it's got, will I make a 10% return cash on my investment? So they tell me that, Robbie, it's a $100,000 all-in investment and it's bringing in a little over $900 a month, let's say. So then I can pretty quickly add 900 times 12, come up with the number and say, all right, that's about a 10% return. I look at and call on literally everything that comes up on the market. If it's on the market and I see it, I look at it. I then am evaluating, do I think this is a good price? Do I think it's going to rent for this? Is it rented for this? What is its highest and best use? I go through all of that stuff in my mind because that's where I live, that's where I know, and I want to buy as many of those properties as I possibly can, as long as they're a good deal. So if you follow this channel, you know we're value add investors. Buy something that doesn't have any cash flow and then add value to it and then project what the rents are. I'm pretty good at that. That's what we do. That's our thesis, right? We want to buy distressed, vacant, not cash flowing properties because we think we can buy them really well. And we have proven that over a long period of time. We've got a stacked up record of success. So when I'm looking at this kind of investment, so the building that I'm sitting in now, if we were going to buy a distressed building like this and fix it up and then make it a rental, what am I looking for? And this is again, not trying to force something, but just trying to take the low-hanging fruit and buy the stuff that's clearly a good deal. So in this case, when I'm doing value-add investments, I want to see a return of my capital inside of 6 years. So what that means is I buy it today for something down here. I then improve it, and now I've got a property that we're going to go to market with and rent. And from that point on, where we've got our total investment, let's go back to the $100,000. We have $100,000 from purchase to renovation. And now we put it on the market. I want to see a 6-year return of my capital. Then that's the kind of value add real estate that I'm interested in. But again, I'm going to harp on this throughout this video. It takes having a plan, knowing what you want to see, knowing what you want to accomplish, and then you've got to put the work in, right? So a good plan, and then you execute it. So that means that I need about a 17% return cash on cash. That same $100,000, where if it was cash flowing, I would have looked at it if it was a 10% cash on cash return. If I'm doing value add, now I want to see a 17% net return, cash on cash return, which will get me my money back basically in 6 years. You've got to be able to throw a lot of stuff back. You've got to be able to very quickly look at it and say, okay, that's not for me. It doesn't work. Boom. Doesn't make 17%. I don't want it. Doesn't make 10% cash on cash and it's already cash flowing. I don't want it. So I told you if you stuck around to the end that I'd give you 3 ways that you can find properties. All you have to do is take the time and put in the effort to see if they fit your criteria and then negotiate your sale and make yourself a fortune becoming a real estate investor. So the first one that we'll talk about is the tax deed sale. I absolutely love buying houses at the tax deed sale. Unfortunately, I sit here in Puerto Rico right now. We don't have a tax deed sale in Puerto Rico. So this one for me and those of us that are on the island of Puerto Rico, we don't have this list. There isn't a list of properties where people aren't paying their taxes. And if there is, there's not a forced liquidation at the end of some certain time. But in the rest of the United States, for all of you guys that are out there on the mainland and around the world, there is a tax deed sale in all of the 50 United States. I believe that to be true. So we use Real Foreclose as the website in Florida, and they do a great job of listing every foreclosure and every tax deed sale that comes up. What this does is it tells me every week there's a sale in just about every county that they have on their site that says, here are the properties that aren't paying their taxes. They haven't paid for 3 years, and now the government's going to liquidate that, and you can buy those properties at the tax deed sale and get tremendous deals. It's a great source to find distressed sellers, distressed properties, and things that you're going to buy under market value. And you can see when someone's losing their property for the amount of their taxes, they're almost all a good deal at that point. So then your job is just to figure out how much do you give the seller to get control of the property. The second area that you can do is very similar to tax deed sales. And again, this one, though, does exist in Puerto Rico and in the mainland. There's a foreclosure sale in every county in the States and basically in every city on the island of Puerto Rico, and they happen all the time. And you can go to the courthouse here in Puerto Rico and find the list of properties that are coming up for the foreclosure sale and go to these foreclosure auctions and buy the properties. They're motivated. The banks are going to be motivated. You'll know what you're going to need to pay or what the bank will take. You can tell all of this. You can glean all of this information by going and getting the list from the foreclosure sale. But you can also go and then talk to the people who are losing the properties, bring them out of foreclosure, buy the properties from them directly. Maybe you do subject to, maybe you do seller financing. There's just a ton of ways that you can put yourself in between the person who's losing the property and the bank and become a real estate superhero. So people who are in foreclosure, they're desperate. They don't know what to do. They clearly don't have the money to pay the bills, or they would have already done it. So they need a real estate investor, someone like you, to come along and coach them through and buy their property basically from them and get them out of trouble and save the day. You can repair credit. You can keep them from having a foreclosure on their record. Anyways, there's a multitude of ways that you can be super, super valuable to these people who are in trouble, who've gotten themselves in trouble because they lost a job or because someone died or because they had a divorce. There's all kinds of reasons for motivation as to why people get behind and why they would be wanting to talk to you. So the last one, go to the banks and find what's called their REO list, the real estate owned of banks. And banks are not in the business of owning real estate. So when they do own real estate, they become motivated sellers. And they may not become motivated sellers on day one, but they become motivated sellers over time. And there are rules and regulations for them. And so if they own just a little bit too much real estate, they can get themselves in big trouble. And if you're following through with the bank on a regular basis and looking at their real estate owned, you can find tremendous value. You can buy things at deep discounts, especially the stuff that needs value add. So anything that's got the white picket fence and everything looks beautiful and pretty, it's probably, even in a market like we're in today, it's probably going to be bought by someone who's going to live there. And you don't have to buy everything as a real estate investor. What you want to buy is the stuff where you can really bring value. And so I say all the time, we're value add real estate investors. We encourage other people to be value add real estate investors. The reason that I harp on that is because that's where I see the biggest kind of advancement for your business, right? So you can buy stuff that has no cash flow, needs lots of work. It has very little value. You can buy it way down here, and then you do the improvements, and the value grows as you do the improvements, and then you rent it and the value grows again, and then you own stuff for a really long period of time, and you become rich overnight one night, 10 years from now. I want to encourage everyone who's watching me, everyone who's a part of our community, we want you to be real estate investors. We invite partnerships on this channel all the time. We partner with people from the YouTube channel, and we're about to do it again. And we'd love to partner with some more people in the future. And if you're just starting out in real estate, and maybe you've even found the deal of a lifetime and you've got it under contract, and now you're trying to figure out, where the hell do I get the money to pay for this stuff? Because Robert told me it's always a deal first market. Well, listen, go look at this video next. We're going to tell you where you can find the money, what to look for to always have all of the money for every real estate deal that you've ever needed. Check out the video there.